What's happening, Bills Mafia? Thank you so much for tuning in to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I'm Ryan Thomas. Thank you so much for hopping on. This is a podcast episode that, it's going to feature some content that I don't want to have to discuss, but here we are. We're here. We're on the show. I'm on the show. You're on the show. You guys obviously follow along with me right here live on YouTube, as well on Facebook, streaming live. You can listen to this podcast on the audio side of things on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, as well as Spotify. And it has been a bit since I've been on. There's been a lot to discuss in the wake of these last few weeks. And to be honest with you, these last few weeks have thrown me for a loop a little bit with this Buffalo Bills schedule. The Bills playing Thursday night football, 2 games in Detroit, one of them being on Thanksgiving, of course. It was tough for me to hop back on here after the Thanksgiving win, or to hop back on here after the Thursday night game against the New England Patriots. But I'll put it to you as mildly as I can to kind of circle back and to discuss that game against the Patriots. We kicked their ass. It's great to know that we can beat the Patriots after not being able to beat the Patriots for so damn long. And I want to talk about that, but I have to acknowledge the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is the fact that the Buffalo Bills suffered a very, very tough loss on and off the field, with the news that Von Miller is out for the season with a torn ACL. And all the research I've done, in terms of, hey, we thought it was an MCL injury. Well, nope. It's an ACL injury. And typically, when there is that perceived MCL injury and the knee is the size of a balloon, you got to wait for that swelling to go down. You got to do further scans of that knee and find out if there's any other damage to the knee. And unfortunately, the Buffalo Bills found that there was damage to the knee outside of the MCL. It was the ACL that was completely torn. And that ACL is what is most feared by Bills fans to be the case. And their worst fears became a reality as Von Miller tore his ACL, I should say, and is out for the rest of the season. Now, questioning whether or not this is a big loss is asinine. Von Miller has been one of the best pass rushers in the NFL since day one. Even dating back to his career at Texas A&M, he was great as a Denver Bronco. He's the all-time Denver Broncos sack leader. And in LA, he was that missing piece that helped the LA Rams get from here to here, and raise the bar and help them get to where they needed to be. And I think for us, anyone that questions the move now, saying, well, Von, getting Von was ridiculous. They paid him too much money. He's 33, and now he's got a torn ACL. You weren't saying that week one when Von Miller was tearing up his former team, the LA Rams. You weren't saying that when Von Miller was being the quote-unquote closer against Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, pressuring Mahomes, forcing him to throw that late-game interception that was picked off by Tron Johnson to close that game out. Von Miller was a great signing for this team. Von Miller was a great signing in the history of the franchise. And Von Miller was a great signing for the fans of the Buffalo Bills. Checked off a lot of boxes. I don't think there was any one game where he was singled out, shut down at all throughout this season. He's the team's sack leader for a reason. The guy was ultra competitive, highly motivated, and put forth a great effort on the basis of a big contract, which you can't always say that. The motivation still at an all-time high for a player that has accomplished quite a lot, winning multiple Super Bowls and getting things done, to put it mildly. But this is only just another chapter in the story that is the 2022-2023 season for the Buffalo Bills. And what I mean by that is this. If there was any theme for the Buffalo Bills this season, any one theme, is that going into this season, the expectations were extremely high. The highest that they've been in my lifetime. That everyone was saying Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, myself included. The vision was the Super Bowl. This team's got the pieces. This team's got the character. This team's got the coach. This team's got, and I'm talking preseason. We were feeling real good about the chances of the Buffalo Bills, knowing that we were only 13 seconds away from beating the Chiefs, knowing that we're still one of the top teams. You got Allen, you got Diggs, and there's a lot of reason to feel like the team was better on paper heading into this season than it was last year, and Von Miller was a big reason for that. But if there's one theme, it's not only that the expectations were high, and right now as we sit at 9-3 with a number one seed in the AFC, with a number one seed in the AFC East, of course, number one rated team. We wouldn't be that if we weren't the other. You know what I mean? We wouldn't be the AFC East number one team. It wouldn't be the number one seed, rather, if we weren't the AFC East number one squad. So, but you gotta differentiate the two. Number one in the AFC East, number one in the AFC. So, despite all of the adversity that has hit this team, and the theme of this season being that adversity has been the theme of the season, with the amount of injuries that this team has accrued, and with the games that this team has played in ultimately losing efforts, adversity has hit this team this season. And despite that, this team is 9-3, number one in the AFC, number one in the AFC East. They're getting a lot of guys back that weren't supposed to be quite back yet. They're getting guys back that I'm hearing positive things on a few people that have been out for a little while. Jamison Crowder, hearing that he could potentially return come playoff time. There's been rumblings even about Micah Hyde, and I'm no doctor, but I am a football guy, and I know that getting a guy like Jamison Crowder back and potentially getting a guy like Crowder, potentially getting a guy like Micah Hyde could be very, very big for this team despite losing Von Miller. But with injury, it equals opportunity, and with adversity, you got to find motivation. And where do you find it? How do you find it? How do you find the motivation needed for this season? Well, who can find it? And the who is Shaq Lawson, Gregory Rousseau, and Boogie Basham, as well as anyone and everyone on that defensive line. We'll just say the entire defensive line, whether you're a D tackle or a defensive end, can look at the injury to Von Miller and say, now I really need to step it up. Now I really need to get it in gear. And even on the offensive side of the ball, they can look at it and say, no one player is bigger than the team. We lost someone on defense. Well, we need to step up now on offense. And I think that is a statement that rings true, especially in today's NFL, that no one player is bigger than the team. If this was, God forbid, 17 or 14, I'd be saying that the season was as good as over. 40? Yeah, this hurts. This hurts without number 40. But there are guys on this defense that can step up. And this defense has proven that they can show signs of being elite without Von Miller in these last few weeks. Granted, you can talk competition, you can talk a lot of different things in regards to that statement that I just made to try to counteract my point. But my point is, if you can't find motivation off of the loss of number 40 Von Miller, then you're going to have a very tough time finding motivation at any other point this season. This is the one thing that could be potentially a catalyst for this Buffalo Bills team to say, hey, we're without this player. We're going to rally around each other and put forth better results. That's not a cliche. It's not cookie cutter. Remember the Titans miracle stuff. It is reality that there are other guys on this roster. This is a team. This is not the Buffalo Von Millers. This is the Buffalo Bills. Von Miller will contribute on the sideline. And where that takes him from there is anybody's guess. Am I worried, or am I hurt that Von Miller is out the rest of the season? Does it bother me? Yeah, it bothers me. I didn't want this to happen his first season here. No one did. Unless you're a nutcase. But it happened. It's football. Guys get hurt. And it is what it is. What worries me is that this is an ACL injury and that the man is 33 and will be 34 years old next year, obviously. Will he be able to come back from this? Brandon Beane spoke to the media, said he believes that he can. I hope Brandon Beane's right, because we're going to need this guy back next year. We need him now. We're going to need him even more next season. He's signed on the bottom line of a contract that structure-wise they can get out of it in a few years. 2-3 years, I believe, after the third year it was that they could get out of it. But we hope that is not the case. We hope that he can come back, be a key contributor year 2, be a key contributor year 3, and we can see the results that we want to see, and then maybe say, hey, take less money, retire, or go to another team. I'm just talking about the business side of things, which I'll be talking about a lot with the MLB Winter Meetings discussion that I'll be having on another episode, on the next episode of the podcast. But no doubt about it, this injury hurts very bad. It hurts in terms of the expectation, the anticipation. It really takes the wind out of the sails to know that guy is not going to be on our side of the field for the rest of the season. But I really feel that this team has continued to battle adversity week in, week out. We were 6-1. We went to 6-3. Now we're 9-3. And the AFC is ours to win or lose. However you want to look at it, I think it's ours to win if we play the way we can play. I even talked about that with the Buffalo Sabres. It's as if, there's weeks with the Buffalo Sabres, there's games, I should say, where the Buffalo Sabres look like they can put forth a winning team on the ice every single night, but they need to play that way, that style consistently, where they're outpacing teams, they're outshooting teams, they're outpressuring teams. The Buffalo Bills have the same style in terms of offensively, they move quick very well. Defensively, they're physical. And if we play that style each and every week, that's the formula. No matter who's out on the field for us. So I'm hopeful that we're able to get this back in gear here. There's people that are talking about jinxes and curses and all these things with the city of Buffalo and the Buffalo Bills. You may have a point, depending on what we're talking about, but let's live in reality and just say we got a damn good team still without Von Miller. We still got Josh Allen. We still got Stephon Diggs. I think there is a new look to this offense that Ken Dorsey opened the doors of, and that is this two-back set of James Cook and Devin Singletary that I want to see more of as the season wears on here. We got Dawson Knox, Gabe Davis, a little bit of untapped potential there this season that I had hoped those guys would make more of an impact in Ken Dorsey's offense, that I think Ken Dorsey needs to do a better job of utilizing both 88 and 13. And if we can make that happen, I feel pretty good. I still feel pretty good despite losing Von Miller. Ken Zintel says, Media Jinx has been saying it. He's been saying it since the beginning. Michael Geray says, hey, Ryan, been a bit. I'm back. Great content as always. Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate it. Ken Zintel says, bring back coal. Well, hopefully nobody's getting a lump of coal for Christmas. Maybe he's referring to Cole Beasley. But all seriousness, I'm feeling pretty solid about this week. I know that there's many fans out there that are feeling down in the dumps, frustrated. Here we go again. Woe is me. I'm not going to do that. I can't let myself do that. I don't live in that mind anymore. I'm not in that thought process anymore. I can't do it to myself. I'm going to look at how the Bills can find motivation, where they can find it. And I'm going to look at the continued theme of adversity being a theme of this season. You know, it's not as if we haven't hit any adversity this year. It's not as if this has just been a smooth road, a nice smooth ride like we're riding on a highway in a gorgeous Corvette. You know, this has been a bumpy one in moments. We've had some bumpy moments. We've hit some speed bumps, namely against the Jets, Dolphins, and Vikings. And those are the teams that are responsible for the 3 losses. So I look at it like this. How much more motivation do you need? You don't have Von Miller. You're going up against a team that beat you already this season in the New York Jets, but you're facing them at home, in the comfort of your own home. Someone's going to knock on your door and you're going to get the chance to punch them in the face. You're not going to someone else's door trying to punch them in the face. Weird analogy, but you get the point. They're coming to our house. We got to stomp them out. They have a very motivated team in their own right. Robert Saleh's done a great job motivating a team that doesn't have nearly the talent on paper that the Buffalo Bills have, but on paper doesn't always translate, or lack thereof, to wins. It's about motivation. It's about battling. This is a long-ass season. 18 frickin' weeks. Some of it is bullcrap, and that's what we're dealing with now. Some of it has the sunshine and rainbows. We were 6-1. Some of it has adversity. Mother Nature being a bit of adversity for the Buffalo Bills this season, and I will say that because this team had to do a hell of a lot to make those games a reality against Cleveland and Detroit, going back to Detroit. And we found a way without barely practicing. The leadership on this team is rock solid. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs on offense. I think Ed Oliver has taken a major leadership role on defense. I'd say Tremaine Edmonds has stepped up big time. This is probably his best season as a Buffalo Bill. Matt Milano, when he's healthy, he's one of the best outside linebackers in the league. Trey White, you know, I've been a little bit critical of him. I feel like he could have come back a little bit. The comeback could have happened a little bit sooner than it did, but he's back. He's healthy. He played double the amount of snaps last week compared to the week prior. And I'm hopeful that we do continue to see this evolving run game with James Cook and Devin Singletary. I really feel like these guys can get it done. I believe in those guys. I think they can get it done. And I think based on the preseason hype of the Buffalo Bills and based on what we thought about the Bills, you know, heading into the season, they heard it just as much as anyone. They heard the expectations just as much as anyone, and those expectations are believed by the team still, that they can meet that level. And there's a lot of reasons to say that they can. If they don't, if we go through this season and we don't go to the Super Bowl and win it, the mark of this season will be injuries, yes, as well as we didn't get it done. I'm not going to blame the Bills not winning a Super Bowl this season on injuries. We still got this guy, right? Knock on some wood, wherever you can find it. We still got that guy, and I'd put that guy up against anybody. So, there you have it. Adversity has hit us all season long. This is probably the toughest loss we've had to date. And we're getting some bodies back. And I know the type of mentally toughness, the type of mental toughness that you have to have, not only as an athlete, but as a coach that was a wrestler. How he applies that mental toughness to his coaching is going to be seen in these next few weeks. At some point, we're going to say to ourselves, wow, this team has grown up a lot mentally. I think they already have. I think the games in which we've lost, we have lost them on our own. We have let adversity hit us in the face, kick us in the teeth, and just laid down. No. When a team gets kicked down too many times, eventually they start to fight back. And I think we're starting to see that. Buffalo Bills take on the New York Jets this week. I'll be doing a separate preview podcast for the Bills-Jets game. I'm really pumped for that. I will say I want to see more James Cook and Devin Singletary. If I haven't said that already, I know I have. But I really loved what I saw from Ken Dorsey. And you know what? Screw it. I'm going to give you the keys to victory in this episode. Why the hell not? I got people on here wanting to hear it, so why not? Keys to victory for the Buffalo Bills against the New York Jets. I want more James Cook, more Devin Singletary, more options to be seen that are there within this offense, whether it's Cook, Singletary, Knox, Gabe Davis. I want to see those guys get the ball. Take the pressure off of Josh Allen. Not force Josh Allen to run around like a chicken with his head cut off like he was the last time he played the New York Jets. And I will say this, the last time the Jets played the Bills, the Jets had a great defensive game plan, so I'm expecting some adjustments from Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. We know they can adjust offensively. They're going to have to adjust even more so on defense without a guy by the name of Von Miller. Where was Kaiir Elam last week? That was something that I was scratching my head at. I couldn't quite understand why he was a healthy scratch. I don't know if it was a discipline reason. I don't want to speculate that, but it seemed very odd to me. But hopefully he's back out there. I would imagine he'd be back out there against the Jets, as he's one of the best cover guys on the team. I don't know what that was about. So, throwing that out there. But Devin Singletary and James Cook, I want to see those guys get the ball, as well as Dawson Knox and Gabe Davis. I want to see Josh Allen spread it around. Defensively, there's a guy by the name of Garrett Wilson, a wide receiver on the New York Jets. You saw the competitive uptick in production from Garrett Wilson when Zach Wilson was benched, Mike White was brought in. Garrett Wilson did really, really well. He has done really, really well. He's a fun, young, elusive receiver in this league, and he was one of my favorite receivers coming out of college in this last year's draft, and the Jets, unfortunately, found a way to get him. But he's been very good this season. Mike White, talking about Mike White's willing to take chances and throw it all over the place because he's got nothing to lose and everything to gain. He's not expected to be the franchise guy. He's only expected to just help the team win by not trying to do too much and doing just enough. And Mike White has surpassed doing just enough since he was given the starting role. I think he's looked pretty good. The stats don't lie. He's had great stats, great numbers each and every week that he started, but he's going up against the toughest defense that he's faced all season long, even without Von Miller. Buffalo Bills defense, I feel like their secondary is getting healthier with Trey White. Tremaine Edmonds is healthy. Greg Rousseau is healthy. And you must not forget a guy that I think is destined for the Pro Bowl this season that is none other than Ed Oliver, who's playing his best football of his entire career. So we're not going to take away the bright spots on the defense just because a guy by the name of Von Miller is out. We're going to prop up these guys, show them the respect that they deserve because they definitely deserve it. And I think this defense is going to get after it. Shut down the run, force Mike White to throw it 40, 50 times a game. And in this game, I think if they can do that, they're going to force Mike White into some mistakes. I think we could see some takeaways from the defense in this one. Key to victory number 3, quite honestly, I think it's take the points where you can get them. The Jets do have a very stingy defense. If Buffalo's offensive drives stall out and they're in field goal range, you can count on Tyler Bass to attempt a 45, 50, 55-yard field goal even in November, even with the wind in his face. We will see that. Both sail through the uprights and say, man, that guy's got a leg. So take the points when you can get them. That's what I'm saying to that. That's it. Those are my thoughts on the Buffalo Bills losing Von Miller as he's out for the season with a torn ACL. And the Bills are taking on the New York Jets this week in Orchard Park, New York. It'll be a very interesting game to say the least. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Ryan Thomas. That was the Thomas Take Sports Podcast.